We thought apartment 7B was our dream come true, a classic Boston brownstone from 1931. But the walls here don't just hold dust, they hold breath. I walked in one Tuesday, the grocery bags heavy in my hands. I felt it, a presence. "Mark?" I called out toward the closet. The door didn't just open, it swung wide, inviting me in. But the room was empty. Only the hangers were moving, swaying in a wind that didn't exist. That was the first time I realized we weren't the only ones who had keys to this place. Mark brought it home from a shop in Salem, a hand-carved wooden mask with eyes that seemed to follow my belly as I walked past. I tried to make a joke of it. "Don't scare the baby, okay?" I whispered to the wood. But as soon as Mark left the room, I felt a chill. I muttered to myself, "I'm never going to sleep with those eyes watching me." Then it happened. Knock, knock, knock. 3 distinct heavy raps from behind the mask. Not the door, the wall, a solid brick wall leading to an empty locked unit. The mask didn't move, but the wood sounded like it was laughing. It was 3 a.m. when Mark bolted upright. He didn't tell me then, but I saw the terror in his sweat. In the corner of our room, standing where the shadows are thickest, was a man. He wore a fedora and a heavy coat from a different era. But his eyes, Mark said they were like burning coals, 2 red embers staring directly at my unborn child. The next morning, he claimed it was just a nightmare. But then I saw the sage in the salt. You don't buy those for a dream. You buy them when you realize the ghost of 1931 is watching you sleep. The Boston fog was thick that morning, leaking through the 1931 window frames. My foot slipped out from under the duvet, and a voice in my head screamed, "Pull it back before it touches you." Too late. I felt it, ice-cold, slender fingers poking the arch of my foot. My breath hitched. At the edge of the bed stood a pale, greenish figure, its face hidden by a tattered sleep mask. I didn't scream. I couldn't. Then the heavy duvet began to lift. Once, twice, like a child playing a cruel game. I squeezed my eyes shut, pretending to be dead to the world, praying the thing from the 70-year-old shadows wouldn't realize I was awake. I was just chopping vegetables, trying to make the house feel like a home. Our knife block has been with us for 5 years. It's angled down, designed so nothing can ever fall out. But that afternoon, the laws of gravity just broke. I heard a sharp whoosh right by my ear. One of the heavy blades didn't just fall. It leaped. It flew out of the block and slammed onto the hardwood floor with a deafening metallic clang. My heart nearly stopped. There was no vibration, no wind. Something in that kitchen wanted me to know that if it could lift a blade, it could do much worse. The 1931 plumbing in apartment 7B was always temperamental, but this wasn't just old pipes. I stepped into the bathroom, the fluorescent light flickering like a dying pulse. As soon as I sat down, the drain began to scream. Gurgle, choke, gurgle. It sounded like a pair of lungs filling with dirty water right beneath my feet. The floor tiles vibrated with the rhythm of a drowning man's last breath. I didn't wait. I scrambled out of there, my heart hammering against my ribs. The second my foot hit the hallway carpet, the silence returned. It was waiting for me. It's always waiting in the dark, wet places of this house. I couldn't stay in that house anymore without knowing. The Boston archives were cold, but not as cold as apartment 7B. I found it in a microfiche from 1954. A woman, 6 months pregnant, just like me. She vanished. No signs of a struggle. Just deep gouges on the closet door and a shredded sleep mask left on the rug. The building wasn't just old. It was a collector of lost souls, a lighthouse for the restless. They weren't just haunting the rooms. They were waiting for a new heartbeat to join their collection. And my baby was the loudest signal in the dark. The Boston wind was howling outside, but the real storm was inside. It hit us all at once, the stench of something that has been dead for a century. It wasn't just rot. It was the smell of 1931, buried and forgotten. Mark followed the scent to the wall, to the mask, and then we saw it. A thick, oily black liquid seeping through the wallpaper, like the house itself was bleeding. It formed the shape of a hand, long, skeletal, reaching for us. The baby kicked, hard, as if he knew the decay was closing in. The air turned heavy, tasting of dust and old sins. Something was finally coming out of the walls. The power died with the storm. Boston was black, but apartment 7B was darker. I heard the mask shatter in the living room, a piece of history breaking. I looked in the mirror, hoping for my own reflection, but I saw her. The woman from 1954. Her eyes were sewn shut with black thread, weeping that oily rot. And then he stepped out, the man in the fedora. His red eyes weren't just glowing, they were burning through me. "The child is ours," the shadows hissed. Mark tried to reach me, but the house itself fought back. I felt a cold hand wrap around my belly, and for the first time, I didn't just see them. I felt their hunger. We thought the sun in New England could bleach out the stains of Boston. We thought the suburbs were safe. My son was born on a Tuesday. Perfect, healthy, a miracle. I was watching Key through the baby monitor, his chest rising and falling in the dark. Then the screen flickered. Static. And there she was, the woman from 1954, her sewn-shut eyes leaning over the crib, whispering secrets into his ear. My baby opened his eyes. For a heartbeat, they weren't blue, they were red, burning embers from a 1931 furnace. He didn't cry, he just smiled. We didn't leave the nightmare behind. We brought it home in a blanket.